Hello, welcome to HITC Sport. And right, we've just seen 3 England U21 stars seize their chance with a goal each in a 3-0 senior win over Wales. Great for them, but let's take a look at those who didn't make the step up. I'm going to go find each year's footballer who scored a goal for the England U21s, who were built up as the next big thing, only to go and do virtually nothing in comparison to the ridiculous hype train. Right, let's go. 2005, John Welsh. Christ, where do you want to start for 2005? I'm going to go for John Welsh. He scored in a 2-0 win over Azerbaijan, and being a 21-year-old midfielder on the books of Liverpool, he was even playing Champions League football last season for a team crowned European Kings in May, but he didn't become an England star, quite the opposite. He's been spelled a whole Tranmere, 6 years at Preston, a year at Grimsby, Atherton Collieries, which sounds like a type of British pub, and now at 36 is just signed for Stafford Rangers in the 7th tier of English football. If the Liverpool class of 2005 ever have a 20-year reunion to celebrate Istanbul, he'll probably be one of those who will sit in the back and keep his head down in case anyone asks him what he's doing for a living. Don't worry Welsh, at least you're not a sweaty YouTuber in his mid-20s wearing an unwashed scarf that smells like an elephant's armpit. 2006, Justin Hoyte. Yeah, I'm starting off this list as good old Justin Hoyte. You might remember him from playing right back in one of the most hideous Premier League teams ever seen. On loan from Arsenal at Sunderland, this guy tripped over his ankles every 6.5 minutes, was part of a back four which conceded nearly 70 goals. Anyway, he did score the winner for England U21s at a friendly win over Holland. Fast forward 14 years, and his CV consists of championship mediocrity for 6 years at Middlesbrough, a couple of years warming the Millwall bench, a spell at Dagenham and Redbridge, then FC Cincinnati out the backwards of Ohio. And as for his international career, he's got nearly 20 caps for Trinidad and Tobago. And considering there's less people living in that country than there are people subscribed to football daily, I'm guessing they're a lot more forgiving of right backs who are clearly born with a mashed potato lodged in their skull. 2007, Stephen Taylor. Alright, the answer for 2007 is Stephen Taylor. He scored in a 5-0 friendly win over Slovakia, was held up as the Geordie John Terry. Yeah, no. Highlights of his career include pretending to be sniper rifled on the pitch. He had his jaw allegedly broken by Andy Carroll, helped Newcastle to 2 relegations, was rejected by Portland Timbers, wound up at Peterborough, then Wellington Phoenix, New Zealand, and now at 34 is playing for something called Odisha FC off the west coast of India. He's come a long way from playing with Alan Shearer every week. 2008, David Wheater. Listen, likes of Fraser Campbell, Craig Gardner, and Adam Johnson scored for the Under-21s that year. Talented player, sure, but ultimately winded up playing for Huddersfield, Sunderland, and the local prison team. But the answer for 2008 has to be David Wheater. A big, strong centre back playing under Gareth Southgate at Middlesbrough. You'd have bet your house in him playing for the senior team one day. He scored a 3-2 Euro qualifying win over Wales, led by example, a big physical presence at the back, only for his career to wind up a wet, damp yogurt stain. He hasn't played a single Premier League match since 2012. He spent 9 years at Bolton, coinciding with the worst period in the club's history. Sure, he might have thought that cheering him on every week, but is that much consolation when his career is like stuffed to the dregs of League 2? He's currently playing for Oldham Athletic, no doubt spending his afternoons crying in the corner with Cameron Borthwick Jackson. And as for senior call-ups, I'm pretty sure Southgate deleted his number about 9 years ago. 2009, Zavon Hines. Right, well 2009 was the year where Lee Callum was officially scoring for England, despite having all the natural talent of a broken dishwasher. The winner of this award though has to be Zavon Hines, who scored a double from the right wing in a 6-3 demolition of Macedonia. He was a highly rated Jamaican-born winger on the books of West Ham, the original Raheem Sterling or Jadon Sancho. Yeah, no, he's currently 31, unemployed, and with a CV consisting of Bradford, Dagenham and Redbridge, Southend, Maidstone, Chesterfield, and most recently Bromley. He currently coaches the West Ham Under-14 team. Come on Zavon, what happened? 2010, Nathan Delfonazo. Yeah, you just knew he was going to pop up sooner or later. Good old Nathan Delfonazo, England's next big hope. This guy was supposed to be the next Gabriel Bonlor coming through at Villa Park, a striker just 4 years younger than him. He scored for England in a 2-1 home defeat to Greece at Keepmoat Stadium, although it wouldn't be the biggest embarrassment seen at Doncaster's ground this decade. This guy probably had aspirations of catching Fabio Capello's eye, forcing his way into the Euro 2012 squad 2 years down the line. Nah, instead he spent his Villa contract mostly shut out on loan and mostly failing in the Championship. Sure, he briefly found his feet in League 1 with Blackpool, but 41 goals on 312 career appearances, only hitting more than 70 goals in a season once, never hitting double figures in a season ever. For a guy approaching his 30th birthday and spending his peak years stuffed in the 4th tier with Bolton, you'd wonder how he ever played in the same England team as Jordan Henderson and Kyle Walker. 2011, Martin Whitehorn. Okay, this was a weird year for underage English football. Craig Dawson was a goal-scoring machine with 4 goals, when at club level he looks about as dangerous from corner kicks as a piece of chewed Kleenex. The correct answer here though is Martin Waghorn. He scored a couple for England that year, was tipped to follow Wayne Rooney's footsteps up front, but now he's instead carved out a career as a decent Championship striker and banging them in for Rangers in the Scottish 2nd tier, but he hasn't played a single minute of Premier League football in nearly a goddamn decade. 2012, Benica Phobie. I interviewed Benica Phobie 5 years ago and he was a great guy, but he'll admit himself his career has not panned out the way he'd hoped. Back in 2015 he was a young Arsenal striker, the original Eddie Nketiah, and scored a penalty in a 2-0 win over Northern Ireland. The guy wanted to be a legend at the Emirates Stadium, and considering Arsene Wenger's track record with youth, why not? I mean, if Nicholas Bendtner can play over 100 games, but instead he's failed in the top flight with Bournemouth, was disrespected by Wolves, got injured at Stoke, and at the age of 27 is currently out in Turkey, directly replacing a washed-up broken Daniel Sturridge with Trabzonspor. Poor old Benik, spending his peak years being a follow-back to Daniel Sturridge. 2013, Carl Jenkinson. Yeah, the answer here, without a shadow of a doubt, is Carl Jenkinson. November 2013, England spank a bunch of San Marino University students by 9 goals. Young Arsenal also right back Carl Jenkinson gets on the score sheet, and he'd already made his senior England debut a year earlier when Zlatan Ibrahimovic used him as a towel to wipe his face. But at 28, Jenkinson is a failed Arsenal fullback, currently on the books of a struggling Nottingham Forest. Once upon a time, Jenkinson was a more highly rated fullback than Kyle Walker. Now he's not even better than James Perch at his peak. That was the 14 side of Berahino. Yeah, 2014 was the year Harry Kane was emerging for the England U21s, although still being outshone up top by Saido Berahino. Yeah, I know, mental. Even Tottenham fell for it, trying to chuck £20 million at West Brom. Little did they know, their homegrown striker would soon be worth about £250 million. Berahino wound up at Stoke, stunk the place out, went nearly 1,000 minutes without a goal. Yes, 1,000. Eventually ended up in Belgium with Zulte Waregem, and is now loaned out to Charleroi. He was recently caught begging to be allowed back to West Brom, which is kind of funny considering 5 years ago he treated the prospect of staying at the Hawthorns as if he was told to go work in a Peruvian sweatshop. 2015 Duncan Watmore. Lads, what happened to Duncan Watmore? At Sunderland, he outshone Adnan Januzaj. You know, the guy whose passport was fought over by 5 different countries? The ginger winger, he got himself on the score sheet in a 3-1 win over Switzerland. Clearly he found some European attention, because within 2 years he was receiving letters from Real Madrid, although I'm pretty sure they were written by his mother. Anyway, at just 26, he'd just be released by Sunderland, who don't even need him anymore for League One. Lads, what the hell is Duncan Watmore doing with his life? Oh, that's right, doing 2 videos a week on HITC Sport. 2016 Chuba Akpom. Remember when Chuba Akpom scored a hat-trick for Arsenal in a pre-season friendly 5 years ago, and half the Gunners fan base nearly lost their minds? Yeah, he was a promising young striker coming through, was scoring on a regular basis for the England U21s, but he's currently 24 and back at England with Middlesbrough after 2 years out in Greece. Nah, I don't think he'll ever play for the England senior team. 2017 Alfie Mawson. 2017 is littered with England U21 goal scorers who failed to live up to their potential, but I'm going to go with Alfie Mawson. He scored in a 2-1 win in Slovakia, was a highly rated Swansea centre half who'd soon command a £20 million switch to Fulham. Yeah, being relegated twice in a row clearly melted this man's self-confidence, and despite Fulham having a defence made of cardboard, they've still loaned this 26-year-old back to the Championship with Bristol City. 2018 Dale Fry. Yeah, step forward Dale Fry, who scored in a 2-1 win over China at the 2018 Toulon tournament. This was the England team filled with promising young stars. Dale Fry hasn't really done much by comparison. He's a 23-year-old defender and hasn't got that big money move to the Premier League, instead just slumming it in the bottom half of the Championship with Neil Warnock's Middlesbrough. 2019 Dominic Solanke. Do I really need to elaborate? Sure, Dominic Solanke scored a bunch of goals for the England U21s, but this is a guy whose CV looks better than it is. It's an Instagram CV. Something that looks great at first glance, but up close, it just looks like stale horse vomit. He had spells at Chelsea and Liverpool, sat on the bench against Real Madrid in a Champions League final, he's a world champion with his country, and commanded a £20 million transfer fee at just 21 years of age. Yeah, sure, it sounds great, but then you study his career properly and realise he's a 23-year-old striker with 4 goals in nearly 50 games for Bournemouth, and just 4 Premier League goals and over 60 top-flight appearances. You look at someone like Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who's finally made that step up from underage star to genuine top-class Premier League footballer, and then you look at Solanke, stumbling about in the Championship, barely able to control his feet, unable to sneeze in the direction of a goal, and you just think the hype was an utter waste of time. Anyway, that's it, guys. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and as always, I'll talk to you in a while.